Okay, guys. So as you know, we were lucky enough to catch up with one of our WA professional riders a couple of days ago in the Mitchelton-SCOTT rider, Luke Durbridge, continuing on with that ability to be able to touch out and just make sure that everyone that we all know in the West Australian cycling community is doing okay in these crazy times. I'm going to use that as a word, crazy times. We've been very, very lucky to be able to touch base and chat to our friend who's on the line now. And before I just introduce, I will pop you open there. And we have Jess Allen. Hey, Jess, how are you?
Hey, good, thanks.
Good,
Thanks for
good.
having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure, absolute pleasure. So what we've been doing is we've, literally just taking it upon ourselves, obviously, to check in around the world and make sure that everyone's doing okay. I mean, obviously, we're in some crazy, crazy times at the moment, and it doesn't look like getting any better in the short term. So you're in Girona, and you're on full
Yeah.
lockdown. Can you, look, I suppose we should start by saying, how you coping, and how is everything going for you at the moment, personally?
Yeah, it's definitely strange times. I've never experienced anything like this, and I think, like, definitely myself, and I think most people were a bit blasé about all this to start with. I first heard about the coronavirus before we left Australia for the season, and you didn't really think it'd hit too close to home, but now it has, and it's something everyone really needs to take responsibility for, and yeah, try and flatten the curve. But yeah, we've been in full lockdown here for 2 weeks almost. So that means everything's shut except for essential things like the supermarket and pharmacy. You're only allowed to go to the supermarket like by yourself. If you live with a partner, you can't go together. You can walk your dog. So I was thinking about fostering a dog. But yeah, so we're not allowed to ride outside, which I totally understand. Yeah, I think the biggest thing with cycling outside at the moment is it's like a pretty high sport for crashing and injuries. So they just don't want to take up extra hospital beds that just for people, wanting to exercise. So set up on the home trainer here and doing some Zwift most days, which is cool. But yeah, just that's a bit challenging. But yeah, just making sure I'm still connecting with people. Yeah, everyone's saying, it's social distancing, but I spoke to a friend yesterday and he put it as it's more physical distancing. You still need to be social. You don't have to be in contact to be social. Just FaceTime people. There's so many ways on the internet now to stay in touch with people. So that's been really important. And yeah, just been keeping myself busy.
Yeah, I've heard that message too. The message around social versus physical. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually, because here we are, had the ability to catch up
Exactly.
and just check in, and that sort of stuff is super important. Mindset. How's your mind set? So can you tell us sort of the build up to you going into lockdown? Like, were you competing and then you've sort of come off a block and gone, guys, this is what's happening? Or how did that all unfold for you personally?
Yeah, well, I was actually in Belgium for the opening weekend of the Spring Classics, and had a bit of a rough lead up to that. I got a bit sick before, so I didn't actually get to race the opening weekend. So I haven't actually raced in Europe yet. My last race was the Cadel Evans race. So after that weekend, we had a training camp in Belgium for 2 weeks, and with the Classics girls. And the aim of that camp was to do the recons of courses like Flanders, Ghent-Wevelgem, De Panne, and get just a solid block in over the cobbles. But yeah, after a week there, I was still sick, so I decided to come back to Girona early. And then that's when we started hearing that Strade Bianche was going to do Strade Bianche, and then a few of the Belgian races. And we're pretty grateful for our team, actually. They were the first team to put down like quite a significant amount of time without racing. They put a 2-week block of no racing, and most teams are kind of like, well, that's a big step. But I think it's also when we started realizing like this is pretty serious. Yeah. And you don't want people, like a lot of teams are just rocking up to races, getting told the day before that they're cancelled, and you just don't want that extra travel and stress. So yeah, we got back here, and my mindset was more like, okay, just training for pretty much Flanders now. And yeah, so I started doing that, and then everything started getting cancelled. So It was disappointing because the classics are my main part of the season. But at the same time, like, this is it's just a sport, and we're pretty lucky we're in a sport that there's not just one big event every year. Like some sports, it's just the Olympics and the World Championships. But for us, like, we have so many races, and they're going to happen again at some point. We just don't know when. So at the moment, my next race is probably in about 6 months, which is quite far, but if all things go to plan. So I'm not too stressed. At the moment, it's just more staying fit. I'm lucky I can ride my ergo every day, and I'm not doing crazy sessions. It's more just mentally for me, intervals I find a lot easier than just riding the ergo. So I've just been doing like 1.5-hour sessions with some intervals, a lot of core and strength work, just to keep fit and happy and healthy, really. I think that's the most important thing at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, could I maybe chat through that? Because I know a part of your social media, I've seen you, doing a bit of Zumba and just having a bit of fun along with the exercise. But what does and purely as an example for maybe some of our riders here in WA, what does an indoor session look like for you from a warm-up through to the finish?
Yeah, so for me personally, like, 1.5 hours is a good session, 1 hour to 1.5 hours. So my warm-ups have been, for instance, yesterday it was just a 10-minute warm-up and then straight into 4 by 10-minute threshold efforts, which was a pretty solid session with 5 minutes recovery in between, and then finished off with another 10 minutes of over-unders. So we're just doing 2.5 minutes under threshold, 2.5 minutes above. So that took me 1.5 hours, and I find intervals like that, like the session doesn't even feel like 1.5 hours because you're always thinking about the next effort. And just to mix it up, I've been doing a few 30-30s as well. So 30 minutes hard, 30 seconds hard, 30 seconds easy for like a 10-minute block. And the team's been doing a lot of Zwift racing too, which has been quite fun. And you can also do meetups on Zwift as well. So like yesterday, there's normally a bike shop ride here at 10 a.m. With bike breaks, and they obviously can't run the ride. They can't even open. They're really struggling at the moment. So we got the Girona community together, and we all joined this group ride at 10 a.m. And it was really cool. So like everyone who normally rides together could ride together virtually, and you can even video call in. A few of the friends did that, and we'll just like chat while riding. So there's ways you can get around it and still be social and enjoy it.
And I think that's a message, isn't it? I mean, obviously it's a crazy time, and everyone's sort of, as I said, when we start thinking about being in lockdown or self-isolation, and we're not at that stage yet, but I'm very confident that it's coming. It's about just keeping your head right, really, isn't it? I mean, keeping your head on, keep your head right, and continue with those goals. Getting an understanding that things are going to come right.
Yeah, and I think with the goals, you can't look too far ahead at the moment because everything's so uncertain. And then, it is really disappointing if you're like, oh, I'm going to target a race in 2 months and it doesn't happen. So, like, for me at the moment, I'm just working week by week. My coach will just put up a program once a week. We get through it. We see how my mental state is at the end of that week and reassess. And, I think the main thing is just doing things that you enjoy and keep exercising. Like for us, it's a bit unfortunate you can't even go for a run or anything outside. Like I would love to just, go for a hike or a run. So take advantage of that, but, isolate yourselves when you're doing it. But it's still important to get out, get fit. And even once you are in isolation, there's still so many things you can do. Like I'm in a tiny apartment, it's 40 meters square. But there's still room, to do a bit of Zumba, and there's so many online, activities. If you've got kids, you can make, like agility courses, and
that's cool.
You just got to really think outside the square, instead of just being like, oh, shit, can't control all this stuff. Like, just try and do things that you can control and just make the best out of a pretty average situation.
Yeah, hey, look, and that's a really great advice. I'm not going to hold you up too long because I know that you've probably got a session to do.
I'm really busy today.
You got lots happening at the moment. Hey, listen, team-wise, I mean, as you said, they've been really supportive and like you mentioned, they were quick to jump up on the Zwift stuff and that type of thing. So they're very forward-thinking, which is fantastic. But communication, constant communication, chatting through, keeping you motivated.
Yeah, the team, they're like such a great team, super loyal team as well. They're having team meetings once or twice a week, and we have, it's with the main management, and we have Amanda Spratt and Sam Bailey as our rider representatives in those meetings. So yeah, they catch up twice a week with all the staff, get the latest information. We're speaking to the sports doctors and lots of people about how to keep everyone motivated, what other strategies we can put in place. And we've got another Zwift series coming up every weekend now on Saturdays and Sundays. We'll be doing group rides, and anyone can join them on Zwift. And then Wednesdays will be structured sessions. And then we're just keeping in touch with people around Girona and around the world as well.
Making sure
it's like everyone is impacted differently on it, particularly the girls that, we're really targeting certain races like the Olympics and stuff like that. So it's been a lot harder for some than others. But yeah, the team's great and everyone looks out for each other. And hopefully we'll be back together soon.
Absolutely. You couldn't ask for more than that. Any messages for anyone back home?
Just respect the rules, I think. It hasn't hit really hard in Australia yet, but I think it is. So, really do try not to go on the road too much. I mean, if they say you can go out and ride, go for it, but just be really careful. You don't want to be taking up a bed at a hospital that is needed for sick people. And then just, try to do things that you enjoy. I'm really trying to get more into cooking and things that, you don't usually have time to do. Instead of making a quick 30-minute dinner, take 2 hours, or get into some drawing. And I think this afternoon I'm going to make some birthday cards and, even learn a language. I'm doing italki lessons, trying to learn Spanish. And
awesome.
So there's so many things you can do online, It's just, you just got to think outside the square a bit and have a Google. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I hope next time we get to catch up, we've all moved through a little bit further in this situation and things are looking a bit brighter for everyone. But, look, really appreciate you taking the time to have a quick chat. We wish you all the best and just keep focused. And we're all going to be following you and making sure that we'll always do that, obviously, keeping an eye on how the results are going moving forward.
Yeah, and if anyone needs to reach out, whatever, I'm always up for a chat. So, hit me up. I'm not up to too much these days, so I always can make time. But, just stay safe and stay healthy.
Thanks, Jess. I'll leave it there. I'm going to catch off and we'll catch up soon.
Cool. Catch you guys later. Thank you.